Any volunteers?
Cairo Safsa. Niko na class, niko na stress. Ndio hiyo niko ongoing na nilimiss ya Wednesday, yani na feel niko fucked up. Niko na kazi nafanya
I would advise just mute for your own safety. You might say some things you probably don't want the rest of us to hear. Just try to mute when you're not talking to us. Okay, so no volunteers. Yeah, so I believe we did linking. We added a map, we added an image, to HTML file. We added the navigation. We added two, I believe we added 2 more pages. Is that right? Okay. Okay, so we added the about page, the contact page, and we have our index page. We added the navigation links here. Our navigation links here. We added the about page. So today we're going to look at a number of other things. We're going to look at lists. We're going to look at forms. We're going to look at tables in today's session. So there are 2 types of lists in HTML. There's an ordered list and there's the ordered list. So when you look at, let's look at, so in our about page, I'm going to create our list. So an ordered list is usually represented by the element OL. So unordered is UL, ordered is OL. So an ordered list, like I said, it's UL, then you close the sum with UL. Now within that defined element, we'll create our list. So a list in HTML element is represented by LI. LI stands for the list. So in this case, I'll say oranges. So I'm creating a list of fruits. Then the other one is pineapple. I'll add another list item. I'll add an apple. So I've created an ordered list. When you open this in the browser, Can you see my browser? So when I open in the browser, you'll be able to see I have a list of oranges, pineapple, and apples. So now this is a list, but there's no order. That's why it's called unordered. So you can't know which one comes first after the other. So this is an ordered list. Let's go back to Sublime Text. So that is an ordered list. So how do we create? We can easily create an ordered list, almost similar, but then instead of view L, we use OL, and close the OL, then you create our list. So list. So I'm going to have a book, sleep, I'm going to add another list item. Okay, so I have an ordered list of 3 items. Now, when I go to my browser, when I open this in my browser, I will see a list. So now this, as you can see in the browser, my list is ordered. You can see there's number 1, number 2, number 3. So that shows some sort of ordering. So that's how you create a list. The 2 types, there's the order, then there's the unordered list. If you have done that, please just type done in the chat so I can know where you are at. 2 types of lists, an ordered and the ordered list. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Susan. Thanks, Wangeshi. Thanks, Esther. Great. So that's how we create. Thanks for the feedback. So that's how you create a list. So the next thing you want to create is you're going to create a table. As the element name suggests, it's a table. So you say, just create the element is table. You open the table, you close the table. A table is made up of rows. It's made up of rows, and the rows have some data in it. So you create a table row. In a table, you create a table row. So tr, right? Then inside our row is where we have our data. So I'm going to create a row with the name, and the age. So we're going to have our first row is going to have two table datas. So in a row, you have a table data that is represented by a TD. But then now this, since is at the top of our head, we're going to have some form of headers. So our heads are going to be the age, the name and the age. So in HTML, we use an element called TH to represent table head. So I'm going to say age, then I'm going to close the table head. Then I'm going to add another table head. Then I'm going to say name. Now this marks our first row. Okay, so when I save this and open it in my browser, you can see that. So there's that, the age and the name. Now when I go back and add some data to it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another table row. Then here I'm going to add the data. So the data is represented by TD, table data. So for example, say 20, close that. Then the name. So the name is say name. Okay, so now that's our first row. I can add another row, so I'll close this row, then add another row, and then add the data for that row. So I'm going to say the age 30, then I'm going to close that and say, give it a name. Okay, so I'm going to save that, open it in a browser. So I'm going to open my browser. Press that. So now you can see this is our table. This represents the age name. That's the first table row that has the head, age, and name. So the heads are usually bold, given the bold, made bold by default. And then the second row now has our data. So we have the age of 30, we have a name, then another table row, age 30 with that name. So I'm going to leave the code there for a minute for you to look at it and even ask a question if you have any. As usual, once you've done that, please just type done so that I know where we're at. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Alice. Awesome. Thanks, Margaret. Awesome. Thanks, Susan. Thanks for guessing. Okay. So we have looked at the list. we have looked at a table. So we're going to create a form. So in this case, this is my contact page. So I'm simply going to create a form that maybe can allow someone to send either send a message, or maybe just, so there are many different kinds of forms, but the HTML is the same. So the purpose is what changes. So in my contact page after the table, I'm going to create a form. So the element for form is just simple, simply the name form. So that creates for us a form. So just open a form and you close a form. I hope you can see my screen. Okay, so a form has a number of things. A form can have what you call a label. So let me open a browser so that I can show you that what I'm talking about. Yeah, let me just share my browser. Okay, so let me try open a form. Where can I get a form? Okay, the Polytechnical's website. So when you go to the Polytechnical's website, there's a contact page. And this contact page, they have a map and they have a form. So this is a form. So in a form, we usually have inputs. So input is where the person visiting the website will enter information. So in this case, someone can enter the name, someone can enter an email, and someone can enter a subject. And this is type called the text area that allows you to enter a lot of text. Then this is a button where someone clicks and submits the information they want to share. So in our Sublime text, we're going to create our first label. Just give me a second, let's save this. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to create a label. The label is the text usually used to indicate to someone what is needed. For example, the first label could be the name. So probably enter the full name. That could be the first label. So when I save, refresh my browser, you see that full name there. Okay. So after that label, we enter the input. So this is input in form of text. So in HTML, we have an element called input. So input. Now this input element has a number of attributes. These attributes include what you call the type. So the type is you saying I want. So let me just mute. Let's. Okay. So input type is you telling the browser the kind of input you're expecting. So in this case, you're expecting a text. So the text in this case is the full name. And then we can give this input a name. So we say full name. So that's how easily you define input. So when you save this and refresh your browser, you'll see a button. You'll see a box where you can input the name there. So that's the first piece of the form. So the next label we want to put is, for example, we want the email address. So I'll say label email address. Okay, and then this is also an input. You enter an input. but now the type for this will be email. So now this is important because when, for example, we're on a phone, for example, and someone is entering data, the keyboard usually changes to include things like .com, so that someone can easily, or the @ so that someone can easily enter an email. So the name, email. I'm going to save that. So you save that and refresh in the browser. Refresh. So we see we have another input there with email. Okay, then now we want some place where someone can enter a message. So like on the Polytechnic's website, there's this, the message. So we want to add that. So we can easily add that using something called text area, element called text area. And text area, you can see in this website, it's very huge. So you can write a whole lot of text on there, like a whole story there. So this is usually defined by the number of rows. So how many rows, right? And how many columns this will take, the space it will take. So in this case, we say rows, you can say 20 rows, then columns represented by cols, and you can say 20. Now, when you save this and refresh in your browser, this is what is going to happen. 20 rows, 20 columns. Now, the other problem is you notice our form looks ugly in that case, in the sense that they're just following each other. So we can introduce break. So after this input, we can say break to the next line. After this input, break to the next line. And then after the text area, break to the next line. So we can easily do this by adding breaks after input. So after this input, I'm going to introduce a break, BR, represents break. Then after a email inputs, I'm going to introduce a break. So when you save, I save that and refresh my browser, they arrange in this form, right? So for this text area, I can also add a label and say message, your message, save, refresh, it shows that. So take a minute and look at the code. If you have a question, please unmute and ask. If you're lost also, please let me know. So if you've been able to do this, please just type done. If you have a problem or you're stuck, please let me know. Awesome. Margaret is done. Okay, Esther, Alice, Susan are saying they're done. Okay, so we're going, when you look at our form, in my case, is that this your message and this text area elements are not well aligned. So I think for my case, what I'll do is I'll put a break after your message label, and then this should come down. So what I'll do is I'll come here for the label, introduce a break, save, then I'm going to refresh, then it looks much better now. Then the other thing is in forms usually have is a button. So I'm going to put a button. So a button is an input type, is an input of type button, right? So I'm going to say input type, then button. Then a button usually has a value of submit, like submit. Okay. So with the button, you say input of type button and the value submit. So it could be submit, or you could say just submit message. Submit message. So when I go to my browser and refresh, I will see my button with that text submit message. So to make it look better, I'm going to choose a break here. That, then I'll refresh and see that my form looks like this. I'm muting you because of the background noise. Okay, so once you have you've done that, please, as usual, type done so that you can know and move on to the next thing. Awesome. Done. Okay. Awesome. So those are some of the usually the basic input types: text, email and the text area and the button. But there are a number of other things. There's that allows you to select, to use the radio buttons. There's the select, where you can select what you want to select from. So for example, and do not worry about how the fact that this form looks ugly. We're going to design this in the next class using CSS. So we're going to introduce a button, a different type of a button called a radio. So a radio button lets the user select one item from a list of other options. So we're going to back to our editor. So for example, we want this to ask this person if they are going to. Okay, thank you, Susan, for that, for sharing that. So we're going to, for example, ask this person to either select a gender. So after the email address, I'm going to introduce the button. So I'll say input. So I say after that. So I'll say input type, right? So input of type radio. Then now you need to define the values. So for example, if it's, in this case, we are trying to add gender. So we're going to say input type radio, and then we're going to say the value. So for the first one, you want to be, for example, you want it to be female, right? So the user is going to be represented with the radio button with female. And then this button can be given a name. So we can give it a name that this is gender. We can add another input type of radio, value. So male, name is going to be still gender. Okay. Now then we can have input because we know we no longer just have two genders. So value. Let's say you can say other. Then the name still remains gender. Okay. So let's look at how it appears in the browser. Refresh that. So you'll get these buttons. But then we just have radio buttons. We're just seeing radio buttons because we have not added labels. So we need to add a label before each or after each of the radio button. So for after the gender, I'm going to add a label here. Label, right? Say this is female. And after the male, I'm going to add a label, male, right? So that I'm going to add a label, other. Okay, so try type that, and then look at how it looks in the browser. See how it looks in the browser. So if I refresh my browser, I'm going to see that. So then the problem here is we need to add a break after this other. So I'm going to add a break after here. Awesome. So if you've been able to do that, please type done. Or if you have a question, please ask. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Alice.
I'm a bit confused.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we having the label for female under the input for female?
What? Oh, under. Okay, let me see.
And why don't we? Yeah.
Okay. So you're asking why we have
Yeah.
the label. Okay. So because
Yeah.
when you look at this, for example, are you seeing this?
Yes.
So you want to have a radio first before.
Before the name. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
but
clear.
yeah. So but you can still decide to put the label first. But I've seen most people put the input, the button first before the item.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but you can switch them. You can switch them.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Who is stuck? Because now I'm seeing the done or less. If you're stuck, please just unmute and ask so that you can help. So those are radio buttons. Are people okay? Who would ask? Awesome. If you're stuck, let me know. We can share your screen, then we can help you go through all this. Okay, so we are going to look at checkboxes. Checkboxes, unlike radios, allow you to select multiple things. So we're going to have a list of items that someone can can tick. So checkboxes are just the ones that where you can just tick. So they're just usually the input type called checkbox. So where can we have that? So we can, after the gender, we can have a checkbox. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a break here. So I'm going to have input type checkbox. So in this case, we are going to probably have a number of things, so a list of things. So for example, we're assuming someone is trying to ask, can ask about a number of things. For example, web development classes, Python programming, data science, and all that. So we can allow them to tick those. So in our first case, we're going to have a name. So the first one we're going to have is web, right? Then value, we're going to say web development. That's our first checkbox. And then the next checkbox, input type checkbox. So name, we're going to have that data. So then the value is going to be data science. And input type checkbox. Name, let's say Python, value Python. Okay. Who thinks we need to have labels here? Who thinks we need to add labels? Do we need to have to add labels here? You can reply in the chat if you think we need to have labels, or you can unmute. Agnes says no. Yes, Margaret is saying yes, we need labels. Okay, so let's, Wangesh is saying yes, Ali is saying yes, yes, yes. Okay, so let's look at how it looks in the browser. We can decide. Okay, so this is what we have. We have one, there's that. So I'm wondering why data science looks like this. Did I make a mistake? Yes. For here, instead of checkbox, I forgot to add the X. So I'll add the X there. So let me save that, refresh. Okay, so my data science looks like that. So I'm curious why Oh, spellings of checkbox. So spellings are very important. Save, refresh. So now I have 3 checkboxes. So those who said yes, yes, we need checkboxes. So then the other question is, do we have, we need labels. The other question is, do we put labels before or after the checkbox? Before or after the labels? Where do you put the labels? Do you put the labels before or after? Before, you need to say before. Okay, so Eunice is saying before, so let's do that. So the first one, before. So before, let's try label. And then the first one is, so after, web development. That label there, so before, so label for data science. And then this is the label for programming, Python programming. So let's save, let me save that. Then refresh my browser. So now we see web development, then there's a checkbox, data science, there's a checkbox, Python programming, there's a checkbox. So is that how it's supposed to be? When you tick this checkbox, do you think you're putting a tick for web development or data science? Those who have I don't know if you're old enough to have voted. Is the tick before the name of the candidate or after the candidate? That could be a good checkbox. Should be before the label. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay, that I believe that was Alice. Anyone else who thinks it should remain like this?
No, it shouldn't remain like that. I think the checkbox should be before the web development.
Okay. So how do you do that? Can you show us how?
And yeah, let me try.
Share your screen, you see.
How do I share my screen?
I believe there's a share screen button. Do you see a share?
No.
So let me allow. I think there's somewhere I need to allow. You don't see a share button?
No. I can only see record. No, I can't see share button. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Let me share. Okay. Here.
So maybe you can show us how we're going to move the labels.
There's a blank text.
Yes.
Here. It's here.
So it means we need to cut, right? We need to cut line number 47 to move up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so cut line number 47 and put it on line number 45.
But it will come before the, okay.
So that's umesema it's supposed to be before, right?
No, I corrected that. No, it
Okay, then save and look at how it looks in the browser.
looks funny. Let me remove the break. It appears after the web development.
It appears after.
Yeah.
So you are right by having it on line 47, still.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you can just undo. Okay, so now add a label for data science and another one for Python programming.
Yeah.
So it looks better.
Yeah.
Okay, so we cannot see your browser.
Oh. Are you able to see right now?
Still nope.
No. Why are you not able to see my browser?
I think because when you're saying share screen, I think you
Yeah.
just selected that Sublime text. Try click on the share screen button again and see if you'll see a browser or desktop.
Okay. Let me share again.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you can see.
Yes. So now that's okay.
Okay.
Right. Anyone else? Anyone with a question? Okay, no question. Aye.
I stop sharing.
You can keep sharing. So let's add another input. Let's add another input of date type date. You see how it looks like. So at least you need to share your Sublime text.
Okay.
Okay, so before, or maybe just before the button, you can add input. Yes, there, yeah. Input type date. Okay. Can you try opening a browser if it will allow you to select a date?
Yeah.
It has allowed you, it has given you a pop-up of a calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the thing is we cannot see, but it's okay.
Okay. Let me share again. Here. Here.
Okay. So you can see date of the month, date and year.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So those who have been able to do that and have seen the date, please type done. Okay, so Alice, can we add input? Can we add another input after that? Input, so we want to allow someone to pick a file. Like the way you're told upload a file. So let's add a label. Let's add a label and says select a file. So after that label, input type file, name file. So how does it look like?
You can't see my screen.
Nope, we're just seeing
The
Sublime
browser.
text. Yeah.
It's here.
Awesome. So try click on it. So it launches that. Awesome.
Can I try choosing a file? We need to see if it works.
Yeah, you can. but then the file won't go anywhere. But you can try select.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Is everyone with us? Anyone lost? Aliyepotea tumtafute. Faith, are you with us? Faith, Lillian, Priscilla wamenyamaza sana. Awesome. So now, do you remember how we added images? Alice, do you remember how we added images?
No, I wasn't on the last session.
Oh, you're not in the...
Yeah.
Okay. So who did images so that they can show us on their Sublime text? Who was in the last session to show us on their screens? Okay, looks like people are shy. Oh,
Susan raised her hand.
Okay, Susan, you can unmute, you can share your screen.
We can stop sharing.
Yeah. Susan, you can share a screen. Awesome. Yeah, so that's how we were adding images. Now, do you remember how we were adding links?
Yes.
Where was that? There, right? Okay, so we can turn an image into a link. So this is a good case. For example, There are those where with websites where people see images of the Facebook icon, or you see the Instagram icon, so people link that. So when you click on that, you're able to be taken to their Facebook pages. So let's Susan, let's go to the browser and download Facebook icon logo. So just search Facebook logo. Okay. So see if you can download it. Okay, so once you've downloaded it, copy that file and put it where we have our images. Remember that images folder?
Yes.
Yes. So let's take that logo and put in that folder. Okay, so let's go to Sublime Text. Yeah, let's go to Sublime Text. Okay, so now let's say we want to put it at the end, so after the iframe down there.
Yeah.
Yes. So go to the next line. Okay, so we want to link this to a Facebook page. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with the anchor tag. So remember the A tag. So the less than sign, then the A, and then the href. So you're going to link it to a Facebook page. So in the quotes, type HTTPS :/ facebook.com /polytechnogirls. Okay. Then after the quotes, so then close that. So now, instead of us having the text like we had in the home and about, we're going to have our image there now. So img, now add the image and the source. So the source is images / what's the name of the file? Facebook. Dot. What type of file is it?
Doesn't have that. Oh yeah.
.png. So close the image. Then now you can close the anchor tab. Okay, now save. Let's see how it looks in the browser. supposed to be after this, right? After the iframe. So the image is broken. Okay, so let's go back to editor. So the problem could be the image name. So just stretch.
Oh,
Okay. Awesome. So now click on it. So it takes you there. So your link is broken because of the spellings of Polytechnic Girls. Just open your editor. So it's Polytechnic is TEK. TEK, remove the C. Tech, no. Then NWO. Wait.
WO.
It's OW, sorry. KNOW.
Like that.
Yes. Save, you refresh and see if it's okay. So go back. You have to go back first to your browser, to your website. Okay, awesome. So now we have linked that. So now go back to our editor. So now what happens is when you click on that link, it leaves your website. So it's always a good habit to always open external links on a new tab so that someone can easily go back to your website so you don't lose people. So now after, you see, after the quotations of the href attribute, we can add another attribute. So go before closing the first anchor, yes, immediately after the quotes.
Yeah.
So we can add another attribute. So space, then target. So the attribute is target. Equal sign underscore blank.
Blank.
Yes, I believe there's an underscore first.
Before the blank.
Yes, before the blank. So open it in a browser. Click on the button, you see. So that when you open the button, it opens another tab and leaves your browser, your website still open. You've seen that? Did you see that? When you clicked the button?
Yeah.
Nah. Okay. So close that. Now you see you are there, right? When you click on that,
On the Facebook icon.
yes, it should open a new tab. Click on it. You've seen it open a new tab.
Yes.
Yes. So now that means someone can easily go back to your website and continue browsing your website. So you see that tab on the left is still open. Okay, so that's how you link, you add links to an image. So if someone has been able to do that, please reply with done in the chat. Awesome. Margaret is done. Alice is done. Wangesh, are you with us? Awesome. Lillian, are you with us? Are you lost somewhere?
Yeah,
You have done that?
I'm following.
Okay. Mutua, have you caught up? Mutua Hassan, have you been able to catch up? Awesome. So does anyone have a question? Okay, so there's no question. So I believe we have done a whole lot of HTML. I would suggest keep practicing. Keep practicing. So create another website for yourself so that you're able to practice the different HTML tags. And then the next thing you're going to do is styling of the website. So we're going to be able to style, for example, the image, reduce the height, the width, maybe add some color to links, background colors. So I would suggest before the next session, please practice and practice. I think we can call it the end for today, unless someone else has a question.